Welcome to the Imagine Not Being Leeds.
Imagine not being Leeds, not feeling this pain, not dancing through thunder, not walking through rain. Imagine not rising with fists in the air when the world turned its back and no one would care. We've lived in the ashes, we've drowned in defeat, but still we stand proud on our battered old feet. Imagine not loving with all that you are. Imagine not being Leeds.
We love you, Leeds, Leeds, Leeds.
We do love you, Leeds. Now then, everybody, how is everybody doing? Please do me a favour, smash a like on the video and please subscribe if you are new here. Press conference from Daniel Farke ended about an hour ago. Took a few notes. Thought I'd jump on and have a little bit of a natter because there's a few interesting bits in there. Obviously, the Joe Rodon news was pretty much the only reason I tuned in, I won't lie. There's a lot of waffle goes on these press conferences. I should be in there. That's how much waffle goes on. A lot of stuff gets said about the form, and a lot of the sort of answers Farke gives are just feel like just generic at this point. You know, a lot of daft questions, and really it's just injury news, transfer news. That's all we sort of need to know and want to know as Leeds fans. So obviously a little bit of all those sort of things got mentioned. We'll start off with Joe Rodon. Obviously, we were quite worried after he goes down against Sunderland a couple of days ago. Went down twice. Looked fairly bad. We knew after the game the prognosis wasn't good in terms of the short term. It looked like he was going to be out for the upcoming fixtures, but we weren't too sure how bad it was and how severe it was. You know, had he broke it? We know he's a warrior. He walked off. Some players go off on a stretcher for worse, but he battled on, and has he made it worse by carrying on after that first incident? So Farke on Rodon, he went on to say he will miss the Liverpool game. Diagnosis is better than first feared, which is great news to us. You know, as soon as he said, you know, it's better, I would over the moon. There is ankle ligament injury. It is an ankle ligament injury, normally out for around 3 weeks, but we have hope because he's a good healer. We hear this a lot with a lot of our Leeds players. We've got, you know, Ampadu's one of them as well. When he's out, he usually comes back quicker. Perhaps involve him before the 3 weeks, but hopefully the other side of the FA Cup game against Derby, no new injuries, which is great, absolutely great news. So yeah, it's not ideal. You know, Liverpool, scum, and then Newcastle, I believe, before we play Derby in the FA Cup. So he's missing some really tough games there. He's one of the players, you know, you look at, if you had to name maybe 3 players you don't want to lose, he's probably right up there. For me, he's our best defender. He's a warrior. He instills everything you want in a Leeds player. And yet to not have him is going to be massive. And the pace, the recovery pace he's got, you know, he's a bit of a unique defender. He's rode on the way he moves across the pitch. You know, you can lose the ball at certain aspects. You know, Bogle can get caught up high in possession and lose it with how attacking he is as a player. But with Joe Rodon there, you always sort of have that belief that he can get back. And like I say, his recovery is something else at this level. So it's annoying, and it's pretty damning that we haven't got him for the next few games. But it could have been far worse. So we're counting as lucky chickens on that one, that it is only going to be the games we sort of knew, you know, after the game we knew it was going to be right up till that FA Cup sort of game. He'd be missing too many games in a short space of time, you know, way too many games in the next week or two. So it was never going to be fit for them. But to have that sort of confirmed today that it isn't any worse than that it's great news, absolutely great news. Yeah, we'll move on from that. So let's see who's commented. Hey up, Nige. Afternoon, Matty. Afternoon to you too, but I hope you're well. Hope everyone's good who's coming in the room. Hey up, Stevie. Rodon out for 3 weeks is as good as expected. Still cannot believe the second foul. Yeah, again, mate, I kind of wanted them to press him on the actual tackles. You know, I wanted to swear if Farke came out swinging about how bad the tackles were. So the first and yeah, but for me, the second one, I think it should have been a booking. I do think they targeted him a little bit, left a little bit on him. But I was interested to see if anything got said about that, because I know the fans have spoke about it. Some people say it's one of those things. A few people are quite unhappy at the challenges. I would have liked to see what Farke's response to that sort of question was. But yeah, it was great news on Rodon. So I was delighted with that. I mean, we were never going to hear he'd be fit for Liverpool or even Scum. So the fact it's only up to the FA Cup game, it's not too bad, I suppose. Afternoon, everyone. Nigel, hope you're well, mate. It says Stevie. Hey up, Kieran. I'd be happy to rest a few for the Liverpool ahead of Scum game. Keep Bogle and Amps out. Yeah, you know what it is though. Like if he gets a yellow in this, he misses the Scum game. Yeah, but if you're going to take him out of this to play in Scum game, I understand the Scum game means more to us as Leeds fans than the Liverpool game, but it's still 3 points for a win. So why not play him in both? Because there's a massive chance to get through both games, or they get through this game without a yellow anyway. There's a massive chance. I get what you're saying. You're basically saying there, Kevin, you prefer him to, if you had to pick one, you'd prefer him to play in the Scum game than the Liverpool game. But for me, they've toed the line long enough. They play on the edge. Well, Ampadu certainly plays on the edge. He hasn't lost any of the aggression, what we see him do, time after time. And he's toed that line and not got another booking for 5, 6, 7 games now. And that's fair play to Ampadu. It really is. He got his first 4 yellow cards fairly quickly. He hasn't had that other one yet that's meant he will be ineligible for a game yet. So I play him in both. I like the idea of rotation and resting players. I said this last night, but I do think there's certain players who you kind of have to make an exception for, and I do think Bogle and Ampadu are 2 of the players you don't ever rotate. If they're fit, you play them. If you play, 2 days between games, 3 days between games, they've got to both be in there for me. But I get where you're coming from, Kieran. I do 100%. Would it be worth replacing Rodon with Ampadu? Roger, it's a matter of opinion, this, isn't it? I mean, Farke spoke about it in the press conference today, and he highlighted Bornau, he highlighted Byram, and he highlighted James Justin. And if anyone watched last night, my choice is James Justin to play at the right-hand side of a back three. So we'll see how that goes. But yeah, he has got options, and he alluded to that today. But mentioning Bornau and Byram, especially Byram, seems quite comical, and I'm a big Byram fan. But to mention Byram's name today as a potential in the back three, I think he's just throwing the name out there because he technically can play in a back three, but I don't see that being a thing really. First thing when it happened, I said they deliberately tried. Yeah, it looked like it, didn't it? It did look like it. Hey up, Mark. Just thought the recent upturn in form doesn't make the board complacent. We've got. Yeah, well, this is something I think about quite a lot, Mark. It can happen. It can happen. As soon as the 49ers think we're safe, if that comes into their thought process, if they think we're safe, why would you spend more money? If you're happy with your living room, why do you redecorate it? Do you know what I mean? It's one of them. So I do look at it and think, yeah, it could impact. I mean, if we go beat Liverpool and beat Scum, maybe they'll look at it and go, we could be, 9, 10 points clear of relegation zone on a right run of form, thinking, why are we spending money here? But you have to hope they learn from mistakes of yesteryear, which we've seen plenty of times. I know it is, pal. I can tell by picture, but that's absolutely fine. It's absolutely fine, mate. Anyway, so that's moving on from Rodon for now. Go through. So. Calvert-Lewin run and Liverpool he gets quizzed on next. He goes, fantastic red hot form. I always back my players. Liverpool have dominated the league last season. To go there is one of the most challenging tasks you could have, but we wanted to have these games. Of course we did. I spoke at length. It's great being in Championship to a degree, winning every week. The away fans, a lot of my mates are away fans. They love going to old school grounds. A lot of people say, it's better in Championship. It's not. It's good winning every week, but you want to be an established Premier League and push yourself up table to have it where you're winning every week in Premier League or something near to that. Is it a pipe dream potentially? But these are the games that I look forward to. Going away to Liverpool, testing yourself against the best. Historic Premier League games. It's not one I fear. Certainly don't fear it. I feared it last time we went in Premier League, that last season. These sort of games were a worry, even though we went there and won. You've got to get up for these games, and I think these are the easy ones to get up for. So I expect, Raucous Anfield, I expect Leeds to bring it. These are, like I said, for the players, these are the easy games to get up for. But like I say, he loses to there, that he knows it's not going to be an easy game. We know Liverpool have turned a bit of a corner since playing us. They only just scraped past Wolves, which he didn't mention, but it's fair to highlight. 2-1 win at home against Wolves. They're not at the scintillating best yet. There's no Isak, but no Salah, but both of these players weren't playing big minutes anyway and haven't been in red hot form. But it's still 2 really good options off the bench they can't call upon. Isak's out for season, and obviously Salah's at the AFCON, so that's their bench is lighter if anything else. So that is decent news for us. Rodon will be a massive miss against these, though. The fact that you've got Ekatike who's in banging form, like Ekatike's playing brilliant, and not having the defense, the settled defense you've had all season is certainly a worry. Matty gets an extra like from me, 2 accounts. Thanks, Stevie. I love that, mate. Nige, James Justin could be a shout on the right of the back three if we go that formation. For me, Nige, that is, if we play a back three, that's where he'll go. I don't like the idea of dropping Ampadu into centre half. And I get people who say he plays well there. He's played brilliant there at a lower level with Joe Rodon as his partner. We haven't really seen him we haven't seen him partner Pascal Strauch. I would rather keep Ampadu where he's playing because he's playing some great stuff. Ampadu's probably in the form of his life this last, 3 or 4 weeks for me. Best form we've seen at Leeds United at a higher quality because he played well in Championship. There's no getting away from that. But for me, he's playing the best football, the most free he's ever looked on a pitch in a Leeds shirt for me. Getting forward, looks like he's got a goal or two in him now as well, which we haven't seen before. I would keep him in the centre of the park because we're going to need him in there. It's going to be a battle in that midfield as it always is at this level. So James Justin's played there in a back three for Leicester. I actually think his England cap came in a back three. I might be wrong with that. But he's a proven Premier League player. He's fit. He's quick. He's got the pace with him being a fullback / wing back. He's got the pace as James Justin to replace a Rodon, and he is still physical, good in the air, decent, professional. I'd have no problems in James Justin coming in at right centre back because I hope we stick with a back three. I know the flat back four worked brilliantly at Sunderland, but that one mid-game, that would have changed at Sunderland, didn't see coming. I'd much rather start with a back three and we'll see where we go from there. But yeah, there's an argument to say we go over back four, and they may do that. It depends on who Farke trusts in that position. Calgary calling, hey up, Paul. Very tough game this, and we must play our strongest team and show no fear. That they score for fun, but concede, and we'll be wary of us. Who replaces Rodon? Justin at right back for me, mate. Centre back, mate. Yeah, that's what I'd go with, Paul. That's what I'd go with, 100%. That's the most logical one. Don't know why I keep getting notification of one account and not the other. I've got all the notes switched on. And yeah, it's one of them, mate. Sometimes it doesn't, does it? It plays up sometimes, but this was literally a quick 5 minutes before I decided to jump on. Right, then moving on. Transfers. For the upcoming games, no new player will be able to support us, even if we had an early signing. He'd need time on the training pitch. First FA Cup weekend, we can speak more about this. So I don't know how people feel about this. So Farke's got one of these things anywhere. You've got to be dialed into his formation, his tactics, whatever they are at the minute. His way of playing. He's very loyal to a certain group of players, the starters week in, week out. Very loyal to them. There isn't much change in terms of personnel. The odd one or two come out. Yeah, we've had a bit of rotation here and there with the amount of games we've played recently. But historically at Leeds United, he doesn't massively change things. I do look at Leeds doing early business in January. I think it's needed. I think it is needed, to be honest. But like you said, then if we were to sign, I don't know, Mbappe on the 1st of Jan, he ain't going to play for another couple of weeks. I don't know how you feel about that, because for me, you should be able to sign a player, because if you scouted a player and brought him in, you think they fit your style of play. You think you should be able to sign someone. We've seen it many a times. You should be able to sign someone on a Friday. As long as you get them in time, they should be able to play on a Saturday. Probably start on bench, granted. But we saw this under Marcelo as well. It took weeks and weeks for Rafinha to get up to speed. But I do think when you're a quality player and you've identified them as being a fit for you and your team, I think they should be able to come in and play, early games. And even if they are an impact player off bench, I do think it's. If we sign someone the next couple of days, you potentially bypassing another 2 games there where they could have had an impact. But it is what it is. You've got to trust the process. It's what Farke's always done. I just hope it doesn't mean we're not going to get any business done early, because I think it's needed. I don't want it to drag on. I don't want it to become a nervy end to the window like we always see at Leeds United. Let's have us feet up. Let's be sat pretty with 2 or 3 signings come deadline day. A lot earlier than that as well, to be fair. Outgoings. This one a bit of a funny one. I speak with my players every day, as you would. We are in close conversations. I have no plans to give any of my players away. We want a tight group. I don't believe in a too big group. If there is perhaps a younger player for his development, he talks about the under 21s. It's sometimes beneficial. Even if they had to come to me, I wouldn't speak about it in public. So he touched on maybe some under 21 players potentially going out on loan. Does that hint at maybe a Harry Gray going out? Obviously doesn't mention Harry Gray, but does that hint to potential someone like that maybe going out? I don't know. But when you look at the situation at Leeds, we saw yesterday Valencia heavily linked with Jack Harrison. I'd bite their hand off. I'd drive him to airport myself. I think wages for him are 90 grand a week, even if he goes on loan, which I'm sick of Leeds loaning players out. I'd be lovely to see Leeds, sell some players and recruit some value and some money. Jack Harrison, we should have let him go at Leicester all them years ago for 25 million quid. We've held on to him now as a depreciating asset. Can he go to Valencia and have a good end to season, maybe on loan and get some value back on books for him, potentially to sell him next season? We've seen Ramazani go to Valencia and struggle to get in the side. What I will say personally, I think Ramazani is a better player than Jack Harrison. And there's loads of different reasons as to why someone isn't doing well there. It doesn't necessarily mean Ramazani is struggling, Harrison's no point going then. That doesn't necessarily mean that. But if Ramazani can't make it work out there, what would make Jack Harrison think he can work out there? A different kind of player, more hard worker. But for me, Ramazani is a game changer, and he's struggling in Valencia. Is there something where we maybe bring him back, recall Ramazani from loan, and we send Jack Harrison out on loan to Valencia? That could potentially be a thing. So that could potentially be a thing where we send him back and then we send him over and we bring Ramazani back, which I'd prefer that, to be honest. If we could have Ramazani back and send Jack Harrison out alone, I'd prefer that. I think if they were to pay all his wages too, it'd be better for us financially, because I think Ramazani's wages will be less than Jack Harrison's. But maybe that's, with it being Valencia, maybe that's a possibility. We want to recall him. They can see we've got another winger who plays on that left-hand side available. He isn't getting much game time at our place. Maybe there's, we pull him back and then we send him the other way. I would be all for that, to be fair. But the fact that he's said the main first teamers, anyone around the first team, is what he actually says. He has no interest in letting them go. He likes a small group. We have got a small group. Let's be fair; it is quite a tight knit group, and he doesn't want to send anybody out and make our task of staying in the division any harder than it already is. I don't know how you feel about that, because for me, Meslier, Harrison, there's a conversation that Pirot, Bornau. For me, anybody who, because he even says pretty much everyone's had minutes this season, which, yeah, that's fine. But do you think Bornau's happy? Do you think Pirot's happy? Do you think Harrison's happy? Yeah, they've had minutes, but that's all it's been. I look at it and think you can't just have people for the sake of having it. I understand that the actual squad total number of players looks small, but if you've got to send 3 or 4 out, bring 3 or 4 in. It makes no sense to have players that you don't trust. It makes no sense to have players that aren't going to feature just because they tick a box, just because it's a squad number, assigned to the bench, or a couple in reserve. Sam Byram, you need people like that. I understand the whole quota spot and all that sort of stuff, but you've got to have every single player that's in that first team has to be a decent option for game day. You can't have a ball now in your side who you don't trust, and you're having to put midfielders in defence or change formation because you just don't trust. So it's all right saying you've got a small squad. If that's the case, those fringe players that we all know are fringe players, send them out and bring someone else in. You've had enough time to know. We've all known for months now. Pirot's not going to feature much. Harrison's not going to feature much. Bornau's not. We've known for months. So identify people early enough to replace those players, so we've still got the right quantity of players that's needed. If you want to keep a small group, I assume you're happy with the amount we've got now. I'm not. I think we're 1 or 2 light in numbers and in quality. But even if it is, 2 or 3 out, bring 2 or 3 back in to keep the number right. But there have to be players you trust. There have to be. But yeah, the fact that it doesn't sound like we're going to have much outgoings was a little bit of a concern to me. I agree, Matt Ampadu is a must in our midfield. It's got to be, mate. It's got to be. Yeah, Stevie, I hope we can play the same level of performance, which if we do, will translate for me into a point at least. I really do. I think if we play our best football, we can get a point at Anfield. January 3rd, in January, 3 in, 3 out. Paul, 3 is what I would like. I would like another striker, a number 10 stroke right winger, and another fullback. A left-footed fullback for me. Super Leeds. Come on, Leeds. Hey, how are you doing? Philip Armitage says Liverpool 2, Leeds 2. Let's hope Farke's comments on transfers is smoking. Yeah, there is that as well, Nige. there's a massive possibility, you know, he isn't going to come out there and say, yeah, I'm getting rid of X and Y. He isn't going to name players. He isn't going to come out and say, I've got 5 players that I'm not happy with. He ain't going to do that for squad harmony. Just, you know, for letting opposition sides who may be interested in our players thinking, bloody hell, he don't like them. I think it's evidence there's some players who we don't fancy, and that's fine. But yeah, I hope it is all smoke and mirrors, because let's be fair, if it is a PSR issue, if it is, we need to offload to bring in. We need to offload 3 or 4. We need to. But what I will say is I believe him when he says about the outgoings. I now believe it's not going to be a Willie Gnonto. It's not going to be a Gruev. It's not going to be a player of that ilk, you know, a Bogle that were touted with Everton at one point, which is daft. I think that was more of a summer link, but never going to happen for me. But I don't think it's going to be one of the bigger players, the bigger names. I think it may be. I think Pirro is a big name, but he isn't getting game time. I do see value in a Gruev. I do see value in a Gnonto personally. Tanaka's been, you know, anyone with like a decent PSR profit has all been sort of mentioned as, maybe. But I'm quite happy now there'll be no shock exits. Because let's be fair, Pirro, Bornau, Harrison are probably the 3 you look at. None of them, we wouldn't be shocked if any of them went. I think everybody still loves Pirro. I don't think Pirro, you know, you look at Harrison and Bornau, no attachment there. You know, there'll be sections of fan base who will be gutted to see Pirro go, and I'll be one of them. But if you don't fancy him, you've got to improve. You've got to improve that squad by improving on the players you don't fancy. Dirty Leeds. Hey up, Matty. It's been a while. Hope you're good, mate. Hope you and the families had a great Christmas. Big loss Rodon for next 3 weeks. Yeah, he is, Dirty Leeds. I had a great Christmas, mate. Thank you. Back to work on Monday, so still a bit of time off yet. I'm looking forward to getting to Anfield on Thursday. It's mad, innit? You forget what day it is. I keep having to sort of readjust my memory. But yeah, it's Tuesday today, I think. But yeah, I've had a good one, mate. Yeah, and Rodon, it's a massive loss, mate. You can't losing him for that second half at, well, you know what, an hour at Sunderland proved not to be a massive loss. Strangely, bizarrely, we didn't miss him the rest of that game in Sunderland, but I guarantee we'll miss every minute he plays from now on. We could get a result. I think we get 4 points out of the next 2 games. I do, but he's still a massive miss. He's such a all round quality player for me in the Premier League. I think he's proved a lot of people wrong. You look when you get promoted, you need to upgrade your players, and Strauch was the one, you know, we all sort of felt, and I'm a big Strauch fan, and I think he's worthy of his spot. But as we came up, we're thinking, yeah, you can improve on Strauch, and we thought we'd done that with Biol. Maybe we have. Obviously, he's playing with Strauch at the minute. Rodon was the one I was like, you don't need to upgrade on Rodon, but I clashed with a few fans with that, you know, saying, nah, we do. Rodon, he's great backup. He didn't do it at Tottenham, and I do think there's a bit of a difference in where Tottenham were, especially a few years ago, to where we are now. The gap's not as big now. Or is it a couple of points? 2 bad years back to back. Tottenham are on the slide. Maybe Rodon would be the captain now and penalty taker and job lot. Who knows? But yeah, Rodon's quality, and every minute he's not on the field, you're going to miss him because of what he brings. Not only how good he is on the ball, off the ball, his pace, but his leadership skills. The whole way that he got injured as well with a couple of poor challenges, and you know the fact that he got up and carried on trying, to our detriment, I think, for that goal for Sunderland. A fully fit Rodon, or maybe a sub at that point, and someone else in that position maybe doesn't have that gap for Xhaka to play it through, and maybe Adingra don't score. But I do love everything about Joe Rodon. He's probably, you know, right up there as one of my favourite players. But luckily, it's only up to the FA Cup game, which is great news, because that could have been an ankle break. It could have been his ankle broken. There were rumours that he had broke his ankle, but people like to put stuff out there, don't they, for clicks. But luckily, it's not. And he said he's a great healer, so it may even be before 3 weeks. I mean, imagine if we see him against Newcastle. When's that? Next week? Week after? Crazy. Have we become a feeder club to Spanish clubs? Stop the loans? Yeah, I mean, it feels that way, doesn't it? It feels that way. The problem is, the players that we don't want, or who aren't featured in for Farke, nobody else wants, and there's a reason for that. You know, they're just not that good at this level. You know, and the problem is, because they're so out of favour, they don't play no minutes either. So it ends up where they end up going out alone. I don't think any of the players, I don't think Harrison, Pirro, or Bornau, I don't mind throwing Bornau in there because who knows, but say Harrison and Pirro, I don't think either of them would get tapped up by a Premier League club. Championship potentially, but I think Harrison probably thinks he's better than that, in my opinion. Spanish clubs, Italian clubs, they don't tend to throw the money about, do they? But they'll loan players. I mean, the whole Real Betis loaning 2 or 3 of our players. I think year after year with Llorente as well. It were a nightmare. Just get your money for them. But if you can't sell a player and not part of your team, Stevie, it's paramount that you get some sort of financial gain from him not playing for you, and that's loaning him out, because at least if they take a proportion or the full wages, it's still going to look good against the books. Someone like Jack Harrison on 90 grand a week, I don't even think if he went on loan, Valencia would pay his full wages, which is bonkers. But currently we're paying him 90 grand a week and he's not kicking a ball. So you may as well send him out, even if they cover half his wages, it's still better. And we still have a full squad of 25, but we do have 4 keepers in that. We only need 2 or 3 keepers. Yeah, I agree. I think 2 plus 1, mate. Yeah. I've heard the rumour that we may be looking at terminating Mellier's contract so he can go to Celtic. That works for us. If no one's going to spend any money on January in Mellier, you know, we were hoping we'd get a nominal fee, something like 100, 200, 300 grand. Just say we're never going to be £1 million. Say we got, you know, a couple of $100 grand from Mellier and he goes, great. But if no one's willing to, because they know they can sign a pre-contract in January to get him in summer, that, you know, he could do that. He could just sit on his wages now, sign with Celtic and leave in summer. But if we do terminate now, we save his wages till the end of the season. So as long as it's a mutual termination, there's no fee to terminate his contract. Mutual termination, he can go on his way, and we're saving those wages until the end of the season. So it depends if anybody else comes in for him. But I believe Celtic will be a good move for Mellier. A lot of pressure there in terms of top side, but I think he'll go there, win stuff. I think he'll play, he'll start, he'll be their main keeper. The pressure won't be as much in Scotland. The eyes of the world are on the Scottish League. No disrespect, as what at Leeds United. So I think Mellier moves on. I think termination and letting him go to a team like Celtic now makes sense and get his wages off, because he will be on good wages. I'm not too sure what they are, but they will be good. Is there no outgoings? That means loans for us. No outgoings in terms of big players, is said. No one in and around the first team, but you can interpret that to however you want, Jeff, can't you? Because for me, Harrison's not around the first team. But you could also push the narrative however you want to push it and say, well, he's a first team player. And, you know, that's how Farke probably gets away with that sort of the way he's worded that. You know, no one in and around the first team. Pirro, does that rule Pirro outgoing? I probably think Pirro is a first team player and he's just not favoured much. But I think Harrison, when you look at that, you could look at determine that another way, because he's not in the first team picture for me now. So I think Harrison could go. But he did harp on about under 21s potentially going out, but I'm not too sure there'll be many of them going either, to be honest. Dan James, I agree. Liverpool not that great at the moment. I think we have a chance. It's mad. It's all about circumstance. You know, you look at Liverpool and they've turned the corner a little bit, but they're still not what they historically are and have been last season champions. Then you've got Scum at Ellen Road with players missing. Scum are doing better this season than they did last season, but still very beatable. And you've got to take the opportunities when they come. You know, you're playing these sides and they're not in the pomp. They're not in full swing. We've got to use that to our advantage, because we are in full swing. We're in hot form at the minute. We are 8th in the form table, and we've only got promoted last season. We're 8th. You know, we haven't lost in 6. We're the ones in the ascendancy, so we can go and stick it on these players from these sides. And you know, he mentioned as well, Wirtz is pretty much worth as much as we spent on transfers last season in one player. You know, that's the caliber of players that are on the picture we are facing. But if we get everything right that we can do, we know we can get a result. Yeah, if Bornau goes, Sebastian, we need another centre half. We do. I think we needed one anyway. Playing 3 at the back meant we only had Bornau as an option. Like I say, the thing is, you've got James Justin, you've got Ampadu, you've got players that can fill in when needed. One sec. So yeah, I think it's essential we get a centre half. I think maybe 2. But if we are playing a back 3, I'm super happy with James Justin as an option in that back 3. I really am. I think he's well capable. Perhaps we sell Joffrey, get 4 or 5 million all profit we can spend to it. Yeah, that's it. Innit? You can make 4 or 5 million quid, but on PSR, you can do 4 times that, 5 times that. So I get that, but I kind of think with Joffrey, in my opinion, Paul, I may be wrong. I think they won't upset the apple cart. I think he's doing well at Hull. I don't think they'll be that pressed for the 4 or 5 million quid, if I'm honest. And I think they'll just leave it be. He's doing brilliant out there and look to take advantage of that come the end of the season. Like maybe at the end of the season, we can sell him for 10 million quid. You know, you look at the top scorers in the Championship, and this is no slight on Joffrey. I think he's a great player. I once said he played for England. I were that guy. Like, so maybe one day he will, but he don't feel like, you know, he feels a million miles away at the minute. But you look at that championship level there and seeing Joffrey, up there with top scorers, it goes to show it's a poor standards championship this year. Genuinely feel he can stay up this year, you're going to get that longevity to you as a Premier League club. You're going to be able to sustain a lot easier, because I think the sides that come up, we all, it's been touted for years. You go up, you go back down, and Sunderland and ourselves are proving that system to be false and that narrative to be wrong this season. I believe next season the three that come up probably go back down, in my opinion. So for Sunderland and Leeds to stay up this season, it gives us a massive, massive opportunity because it's such a poor level. But I think Joffrey, leaving where he is, don't try and tamper with that. Let him smash it. Let him try and get close to 20 goals come end of season, and then you sell him for a decent fee next year. We need another centre-half. Yeah, we do, pal. We do. Like to get a specialist number 10 in the backup for DCL. Yeah, backup for DCL would be ideal. It doesn't bother me at the minute, the striker, because obviously I'm like, we're doing well, but that's very naive for me to suggest that, because once that window slams shut at end of January, you're knackered if DCL gets injured. But it's an hard sell potentially to get someone in who's back up. You think if we send Pirro out and then we're going, right, trying to tout for a striker, right, how do we sell Leeds United to you? Well, you're just replacing Pirro on bench. It's a tough one in that, because we all know how good DCL is. Everybody knows about DCL at the minute. He's probably the most hyped player in the league right now. Everybody knows about him. So it may be a hard sell to get a decent striker in, and that's how you've got to look at it, a decent striker, if he's going to come and sit on the bench. But ideally, that's what we need, mate, 100%. Hope to God Ampadu and Bogle don't get booked and miss a scumgy. Yeah, Jeff, I would risk it, though. I would risk it. I really would. But yeah, could you imagine Ampadu especially? I know Bogle's vital. Could you imagine how gutted Ampadu would be to miss that game? At Ellen Road, scum. Because he gets Leeds, does Ampadu. He gets it. He's been at Chelsea as well. He gets that rivalry. It'd be a massive loss with Ampadu. He might not be our best player, but it's probably the biggest loss to not having that midfield. Because a drop from Ampadu, prime Ampadu, where he feels like he's right now, a drop to Gruev, who's a tidy, capable player, it's quite a big drop for me. I think we need a centre back, a right winger, 10 fee on loan. Could Gray step up? Harrison going. Harrison, I think he goes. I think he goes on loan to Valencia. I think there's no smoke about fire. Melia to be paid up and off, going to Celtic. Roma to come back. Rama to come back. A few shocks for once. Yeah, I can see. I could see. I don't think Gray come. I think Gray stays in 21s. Like I just said about Joffrey, I can see them just keeping Gray where he is at the minute because it's working. Gray's playing well. He's doing well in under 21. Just keep him there at that level. I don't want to upset the apple cart with that one either. So, but I think Harrison goes. I think Melia goes. I think Rama could come back. Yeah, 100% with all them. Paul Smith, hit the likes for Matty, please, chaps. Yeah, 118 people in the building. Don't know how many likes I've got, but yeah, I'd really appreciate if you don't mind smashing a like. Please subscribe if you are new here. I'd really appreciate it. 50 likes. Thank you so much. Rodon is the best 10 million Leeds are spending. Yeah, no, you have to say that, don't you, mate? 10 million quid for Rodon. And I always knew at championship level, he'd be the one that could step up. Like, I never had no doubts personally. I was always happy with that signing. Obviously, it's got him on loan. And then I was worried it was going to be another Ben White saga. Luckily, it didn't. I don't think he's quite got the trajectory that Ben White had at the time. That's fair to say, probably. But Rodon's outstanding. And he's one of them. He's found his own money. I actually think, there isn't much loyalty in football, but I think he'll be loyal to Leeds going forward. I really do. Even if he had interest from elsewhere, I just think he's found his own. He's one of those when you go out on loan a few times. I think he'd been to France and he'd been about a little bit of Joe Rodon. I think when you finally get signed to a club like Leeds with a history, with the project and the fan base, look how many players who weren't Leeds players, Leeds fans even, Beckford, and you've had like Don Matteo play for Liverpool and Scouser and all that, and they just love Leeds. It doesn't matter where they started or where they end up. If they've been at Leeds and it's been good and they've had a year or two, it's quite hard to wash us off in it. So I think he just gets it. If I was Harrison, I'd fancy a few months paid in the sun. Yeah, Paul, me too, to be fair. What's point chilling on bench in Beeston? There's no point, is there? Actually, Rodon is priceless. He's the first name on the team sheet for me. Yeah, he's not far off my first name either, mate. Matt Poole, I think the best we can hope for is a draw against Liverpool. I guess I don't want to raise my hope. Yeah, I mean, it's one of them 10-period expectations. The run's going to come to an end at some point. And when you've got Liverpool and Manchester United back to back, the chances are it happens in these two games. You know, the likelihood is we lose one of them two. You know, it's but if we perform to our level, it's just at what point will the level drop? You know, we've seen it drop a little bit in game, a bit of a lull at Brentford after, you know, spiking to get those results against Liverpool and Chelsea. And then obviously a bit of a drop, but still enough to get a point, which were brilliant. Sunderland, a couple of moments where they were a little bit, but then bang again on form. It's just how long can we keep that top tier, that top level Leeds United, which we are seeing quite, you know, more often than not at the minute. It's been 6 great games. Can we continue that? I think we can. I think the best we can hope for is a win, because guess what? There's 3 points available and we are good enough for that. But yeah, I understand that. I understand where you're coming from. Stevie, we need to be realistic. The Liverpool back 4 is worth the price of our whole squad. That's what's we're coming up against. Yeah, of course. I get that. And Hull struggling for money. Yeah, I think they are. I don't think they could afford him right now. We'll have to see how it goes at the end of the season, like I say. We're not getting rid of Born out, needs centre-back cover. I think he goes on loan. Genuinely, I think he goes on loan. But we'll have to replace him. We'll have to. Left-footed right winger is what I want. Yes, that's exactly what I want to. Who can play in the 10? That would be ideal, without question. I did a video last night on Oscar Bob, which I think he might be going to Dortmund now, but I'd love Oscar Bob to come to Leeds. 1 minute, guys. At home, don't. I back us every time for at least a draw, but Anfield completely different. Praying for a miracle, Stevie. No, mate. It's not a miracle. It's not a miracle at all. Sorry, guys. Kids have just come down. Tick all the likes for our match. Cheers, Top Banana. Thank you very much. Yeah, I agree with that. Top Banana. Gray will only play if we're decimated by injuries. Yeah, hopefully that doesn't happen with the injuries. But would have loved Harry Gray to have some minutes at some point, but maybe it's too soon. Jamie Lowe, hey up, pal. We beat Liverpool at Anfield under Jesse Marsh with a worse team than we have now, so we can do it again. Yeah, I agree with that. And they were a much better side as well at the time with Liverpool, weren't they? They weren't getting beat like they are now. I think, didn't we end a winning run at Anfield, which was a ridiculous run? I'm sure we did. So, yeah, I agree with that. Jeff Williams, got to be honest, mate. Love the way you interact with all your messages. Not many content creators do that as much as you do. Cheers, Jeff. You know what it is, right? I've watched content on YouTube for years, like Joe the Go. I used to watch everything he did, and you put a comment on there and you sit there thinking, please bring it on screen. And I can't always read them out. You know, when I do late night leads on a Friday and I'm interacting with AG and Boss Nass, when there's more than just me on screen, I can't because we're having a conversation. But I always bring every comment on. I'll try to every comment because it's what he does. You know, how can I not? How can I not? And the fact that it's conversational, I love bringing a comment up and interacting with it for that reason. And it's like having a discussion with your mates down in pub. I love it. I love to get, everyone's got different opinions, and I love bringing it on and interacting. Whether I agree or not, we'll speak about it. But no, honestly, thanks for that. Thanks for pointing that out. I really appreciate it. As I'm growing and getting big, you know, as a channel's getting bigger, it's harder to do. I mean, now through the day, now 118 people watching. This is new to me. You know, I've been doing it a year. Having these numbers every time I come live, it's getting harder and harder. But that's why I tend to have longer streams than most as well. Sometimes I go on for an hour and a half, don't they? Jeff, as you've probably seen. So I always do my best, but thanks for pointing out. I really appreciate it, mate. Thank you. Roger, any reason for Leeds upturning form on set pieces, corners, free kicks, throw-ins? It's like a new drilled site overnight. No, it is. There were a lot of talk, wasn't there, about a set piece coach coming in, and that they haven't really highlighted the fact if that happened or not. He mentioned a few times they've sort of just promoted within, I think, and it's someone focuses on it on training. Whoever that person is or that team is that's doing it, it's worked wonders. But what I will say, Roger, I think the main sort of like reason for that is the delivery is brilliant now from Stack. You know, it was okay in the first few weeks of season. Then Longstaff took over, seemed to be a little bit better than Stack, and now Stack's got it back with Longstaff being out, and Stack is the best dead ball specialist we've had in ages. I was going to say since Ian Hart, but that maybe Pablo could deliver a good ball, had a good free kick on him at times, but like he's fantastic. And the fact you've got another centre half in there, the fact that you've often got another centre forward in there when Metch has been playing, it's another couple of big bodies in there. And you've got someone who delivers that ball in between the goalkeeper and the penalty spot 9 times out of 10. But it's definitely something they've worked on. And obviously the long throw with Ampadu, I don't know why we hadn't used that in the past in the Championship. We didn't need to. We could outplay teams, granted, but it's something we could have used at times. But yeah, it's class. It's absolutely class. And to be a threat from those positions, from set pieces, like you say, it's another weapon in our arsenal, and it just gives us so many, more options on the pitch, so many more ways of winning a game. Right, from selection now, from the team selection, the lineup to the formation, to the style of play, we are so unpredictable. So unpredictable. Sunderland fans telling us direct hoof ball, they're going to go up to Calvert-Lewin, then we go and score the best team goal you'll see this season. The best team goal you will see in the Premier League this season. The Premier League that's absolutely littered with world-class players. And we don't have no world-class players, I'm smart enough to think that, even though I am a passionate fan. We have no world-class players in our side. And we've just done a world-class goal that prime Barcelona would be proud of. So I absolutely love the fact that we've got all these different variables now to our Arsenal, and nobody really knows what, even this week, even against Liverpool in a couple of days, Roger, with Rodon being out, not a clue if Leeds are playing a back five or a back four. They have no clue what we're going to set up with. And that is brilliant. That's the only plus, really, the only bonus you can take out of Rodon not being in. The fact that they ain't going to be able to predict our lineup, which is class. Stevie says, Jeff Matty is top class, honestly. Thanks, Stevie. Thanks, everyone. Thank you. 60 points still to play for the season, says Nige. Yeah, plenty of points to play for. Plenty to go get. Oscar Bob put it on Santa's list with Promise David and Pajal. Yeah, I mean, like I say, Oscar Bob, it looks like Dortmund want him, but he did say to Fabrizio that others are looking. He's one of them where I just want Leeds to go get him, be in the conversation, at least make contact with City to try and get an Oscar Bob. Like, chances are, if anybody from who's got European football goes for the players we're going for, don't matter who it is, we ain't getting them. We can't compete with that right now. But these are the plays we need to be looking at, because guess what? They're better than what we've already got. There's no point. Like when I did that video about Oscar Bob, and I get a few comments saying he's never going to come to Leeds. Well, I haven't said Leeds are getting him. I've not said that. I've not even said Leeds are really linked with him. I've said he's going to be leaving if Semenyo leaves Bournemouth and goes to City, which he is, and that pushes him further down pecking order. Go get him. Go attempt to get him. That's what. There's no point getting players in who. Oh, yeah, we'll probably get him because that means no one's asked for him, or, maybe he isn't that top level player. We need players that improve our squad. Oscar Bob would do that. So he'd be the one I'd go for. But we'll have to see. So we did my top man. Cheers, mate. Stephen Cullen, 6 home wins and a few away wins or draws will be enough for us to stay in the Prem. Yeah, I mean, what are we on now? 20? I think 5 wins, and then obviously we'll probably get 4 or 5 draws. I've always said 40 points he's needed this season, but we'll see. Big up the channel. Hey up, Liverpool fan in the house. How you doing? Stevie, Matty, this game is one of dread for me. I've recently been getting behind Farke. This game scares me. I've got a feeling we get smashed, hopefully. Honestly, I hope I'm wrong. Yeah, it's one of them. I think if we get beat, I think people can stomach that. I really do. And it's a really quick turnaround, a couple of days and we play Scum. So what a tonic that is, what to get over an hangover to have in a couple of days after Liverpool, you've got Scum at home. So that's going to be bouncing regardless. But I think keeping the score down when you go away from home at Anfield, something we've always said. But what I will say, Stevie, and I understand where you're coming from, I haven't heard the term free hit yet. And that is brilliant. That is brilliant, right? That goes to show where we are. So City, 6 games ago, all I heard, every conversation, obviously, every chat, every podcast, everyone I speak to in the space, free it, free it, free it. And I hate the term free it. And even I was saying free it. I haven't heard one person say free it. What you're saying there kind of is sort of feeling, you know, hopefully we just keep score down. We're probably going to lose. But I actually think the actual main look at the bulk of the fan base is, yeah, it's Anfield. We may get beat, but I actually think we could get some. The term free it hasn't been used yet. Watch, I'm going to look down chat with free it, free it, free it. But I've not seen that term used yet. And that's great credit to us. That shows where we were a month ago and where we are now. Because any other season, we're probably looking at this going, yeah, get out Anfield, great. It is a free it. It doesn't feel like a free it now. We shouldn't be using that term free it when we're in the form we're in, because we've got stuff that should scare Liverpool. You know, we can go to Liverpool and play with freedom. Nice little buffer, 7 points. If they don't win tonight, West Ham as well, if a couple of those results go our way again, and we've got a free game to maybe extend that, but not lose it, because they may not win tonight. Brilliant. We'll see. Some results tonight may determine how much pressure feels. I mean, if they win tonight, West Ham, all of a sudden it's 4 points, and you know, you're looking at thinking we probably need something. But I love how I haven't heard that term free it. Can we, up 4 candles? Can we trust Blunderwood to bring in the right players we need in Jan? He's had a lot of stick right there, Blunderwood. What I'll say is, Blunderwood were getting used a lot 5, 6, 7 weeks ago. Tell me a bad signing he's made. Did he get it all right? No. What it all Underwood know? He got me saying Blunderwood now. What it all Underwood know? It was Farke, it was Underwood, it was Evans, it was 49ers, everybody else involved. DCL, seven games ago, we were getting stick for signing DCL. Metcher, Biol, all of a sudden, Biol looks a decent signing. Calvert-Lewin and Metcher, we don't need to talk about them, do we? All we do is talk about them. So I don't know what the shift in performance and results now with Farke helping the team they had has, for me, shown the squad and the recruitment were actually bob on. Yeah, we didn't get it all right. We didn't. But what we actually brought in, what we're talking, Bornau's the only one. Bornau. James Justin, I think, a great addition to the squad. And right now, potentially is needed. So there's only Bornau who doesn't fit, really. But that you know, that's not really Underwood. That's probably Farke saying, I want him. You know, maybe it's not worked. He's come from Germany as well. That probably is a Farke signing. I don't actually know what more Underwood could have done other than maybe sign Wilson on deadline day, or maybe have got Pajau over that line. But that might not necessarily be Underwood's fault. Was our recruitment that bad for Candles when you look at it now? Was it that bad? A month ago, I was thinking same. Like, I don't trust this guy in January. I didn't trust Farke in January. But surely it shifted a bit now. Is it Adam Blunderwood still? Inexperienced, yeah. Still no massive pedigree. Still not got the contacts that Regis Lebrien, you know, the Chiefs at Sunderland have got. Could Underwood have persuaded Xhaka to come to Leeds United? I'm not sure he could. I won't lie. Were that the failings of Underwood that we didn't get Pajau? Maybe. Maybe we just couldn't sell the project to him. But the signings we've made look pretty good now. So I'm torn, and I've never been against the 49ers. I haven't been. It's a tough gig, and we've still spent 100 million quid. We've had owners at our place spend a lot less than 100 million quid. It gives us a fighting chance, and a lot of the players for me have paid off. Stack, brilliant signing as well. You know, unreal signing. So I'm torn. Me Perry all of a sudden looks. I'm starting to get more confident with Perry. Whereas, like I say, 6 weeks ago, Perry, Biol, get him bin. Bornau, get him bin. I've always backed Calvert-Lewin. I thought he'd come good even when he wasn't scoring. I was loving his play. But a lot of people were like, waste of money. Well, waste of wages, waste of effort, really putting all your eggs in that basket. Everyone outside noise said same. And Metcher again, oh, who's this guy? But all of a sudden, you know, 6, 7 games down the line, it don't look as bad, does it? We don't have that rivalry as a Liverpool fan, but mutual respect, just destroy United after us. I love that, mate. We'll do us best. We hope so too. Last season, we couldn't buy a set-piece goal. Mark, it's been turgid for ages. Last time I remember being an actual threat. I know we scored goals a little bit under Marcel. Cooper scored a few and stuff. The last time I remember it when we had Kyle Bartley and Janssen. When it under Gary Monk. That was the last time I remember being like, wow, pretty good at set-pieces. Let's see if we can get Matty to 100 likes for our Matty. 70 at the moment. Honestly, thanks to everyone at Bankstrom. I know it might annoy people asking for likes and that, but it really helps the channel. So yeah, thank you so much for always banging drum for me. 76 likes, 119 watching. Thank you, you crazy folk. Love you all the bits, man. Seriously, really do. Thank you for tuning in to watch me chat, waffle on like I do about my club. But yeah, if we can get to 100 likes, it's class. Thank you, Pete Hodgson. Loving your content always. I always recommend your vlog to colleagues and friends abroad as well. Class. Fire, Pete. Thank you, mate. Thank you. Stack's vision is second to none. Greece didn't need Worldy to win. No, they didn't, mate. We will push other teams. No, very true. Stack's vision. I mean, I know he's a good player. He's tough, physical, really good for a big man as well, ball at feet. But then you see that pass. He don't even take a touch. He gets laid off. Well, nice little flick by Okafor, and he has to turn around because it's just behind him. And he just first touch is a pass. An absolute beautiful ball to Brendan, and he goes, rest his history. We scored an absolute worldy goal. But yeah, the vision of him, the strength of him, the technique of his dead ball, the ability of Stack is not in question. And for me, he will play for Germany at World Cup, and he will, if he isn't already, double that value very quickly, very quickly. No, it's not free at this time, mate. It's not. Hey up, Tim. DCL will be up in his game. Yeah, I've said this as well, Tim. You look at it and go, yeah, he's not Scouse, he's a Yorkshire lad, Sheffield lad, I think, innit? But he was at Everton for a long time, and he'll still have fond memories of being a toffee. It'll mean more to him to score probably against Liverpool than it will for most. It'll be gutting for his run to end at Anfield. But yeah, he's going to get booed in every touch at ball. They're going to give him it at Anfield. It's going to be class. It's going to be a bit of theatre there with him being, like you say, an ex-Blue. But I expect him to get another one. I really do. I don't think he needs more than one chance to score at a minute. Hi, Matty. Look at Wolves on 2 points. Burnley on 12. West Ham on 13. Still think 36 isn't enough to survive. You always come up with this, Bob, you. Remember, no team in the last 9 campaigns gaining 36 points. You know what I'll say? I think it's quite obvious Wolves, they'll struggle to get bloody 10, 15 points, won't they, at this rate? I think it's fair to say Burnley, they may get in and around 25, say. I don't think Burnley at the 30s, in my opinion. But because that third space at the minute is occupied by West Ham, you can't rule out them having a resurgence. You've got January to come. There's talks of them spending 300 grand a week on Ivan Toney to get him playing. And whether you rate him or not, I do. I'd love Ivan Toney. Obviously, we're not swimming in those waters where we can afford that, but West Ham probably can. They've still got Jared Bowen. They've got Paqueta. They've got Somerville. They've got players who, on the day, if the whole shit sort of shenanigans going on there gets resolved, it's not good when your fan base and your owners and your players aren't in situ. We've been there. It's turgid. It's hard to turn around. It's very hard to turn around when you're in poor form on the pitch and you're at the top level of football. It's hard when you're a mid-table championship side, let alone being a bottom half Premier League side, trying to dig yourself out of that hole when you've got players like Bowen, like Paqueta, who are fancy flair players. Are they in for that dogged fight? Bowen probably is, but he's Paqueta, he's Somerville. Are some of their players really in for a fight? So I understand where you're coming from. But in my opinion, I don't see West Ham going down with 20-odd points. I don't. Right now, they look poor. They haven't won in 7. And we could stretch that lead to 10 points this week. Maybe more come end of scum game. I hear you. But in my heart of hearts, I believe West Ham will get better. And yes, because it's West Ham, I think you need to be getting close to 40. I do. I wouldn't shake on 36 points now and risk it. I wouldn't. So I think I've always said 38, 39, you probably just do it. But 40 for the first time in probably 9 seasons, like you say, feels like the number that we always spoke. I remember as a kid, 40 was always a target. And should always be the target, by the way. Should always be aiming for more. But yeah, because it's West Ham, to answer your question, a very long form, as I always do, Bob, I think it needs to be close to 40, I do. Roger, I want bragging rights over scum. We have a tough number of games coming up. I hope all the good work is... Yeah, me too. What I will say is I'll get pelters online. I've got a TikTok account as well, and I go pretty hard on scum fans. I love to have banter on there and just put shit out there about them. And I get a bit of hate from scum fans, which is good. But I don't really know no scum fans, or no one who gives a shit. I think everyone knows a couple of scum fans who say they're a scum fan, but don't even know when the next game is. So I'm not too sure. It's a massive game. I want to get to the game. I ain't got a ticket. It's probably not going to happen. But in terms of after the game, what I personally get, I don't get much stick. The Sunderland game, however, it's not a bigger game than Scum, obviously, but personally, I was so nervous for the Sunderland game because there's a lot of crossover. The amount of pelters I get from Sunderland has been ridiculous. I was so nervous for that. The Man United game, luckily for me, I haven't got any Scum fans close to me to get stick. I mean, some of you watching now, some of you watch later, may work in Manchester, live in Manchester, may have, walking to an office the day after and get ridiculed by Scum fans. I'm not too sure. But luckily for me, I ain't got no pelters coming because I just don't associate with them. They're just dirty, aren't they? But it's going to be, I think it's the best chance we've had to beat them and beat them well as well. I can't even believe what are the six? I can't even believe they're there, to be fair, but they're going to have no Mbeumo, no Fernandez. It's a great time to play Man United and an awful time to play Leeds United. Thoughts are going for Nathan Ake. Well, I've not seen it if it's out there. Daniel Farke, the German sausage. Love that, by the way. West Ham had a loan rejected because Ake didn't want to go. However, we have a way higher stock than West Ham at the moment. I think it would be a class. Yeah, reminds me very much of Pascal Struijk in his profile. I think he's very much like Pascal Struijk. I'd probably say maybe better than Struijk. He can play left back. He's obviously more of a centre half on that left-hand side, can play in a back three, but we haven't got a replacement for Struijk in terms of a left-footed centre half. We haven't Bornau's right-footed, Bjorland and Rodon. So if Nathan Ake was available, I would have Ake. I would. I want, ideally, a full-back who's left-footed. I don't really want a full-back who can play centre-half, but if he's available and financially it makes sense, I would have Ake. I think it would probably be an upgrade on what we've got to a degree. Harrison to Valencia, Meslier to Celtic, Pirot to Ipswich. If he's not going to use any of those three, each transfer makes sense, even though Pirot might be. It's one of them. I think Pirot will be the one that everyone's sad to see go, but it just makes sense, doesn't it? Let him go play football. If he went to Ipswich, I think anyone who's in that top six, if they get Pirot, all of a sudden the bookies go, yeah, they've got more of a chance of going up now. But yeah, it's going to be interesting to see what happens. I would love us to get some money and just sell them. But if you can't sell them, loan them out. If I had a choice of one win from the next two games, rather lose to... Yeah, well, Mark, I think we all would lose to Scousers and then win at Ellen Road. I think every single fan would say if you had to pick one, it would be that way around. But I think we can do something both, to be honest. Let's be honest, the change in direction has been brilliant. We got a new manager without a change of manager. It's only a free hit if we should lose by the odd goal, but not if it's a cricket score. Yeah, no, I agree with that, mate. I was one of Farke's biggest critics 4 or 5 weeks ago. Post Forest, I wanted him gone, and I still can't believe we didn't make the change in the international break. I'm not going to say I was wrong because Farke has adapted and changed, but man, I'm glad he's still here. I'm glad he's still here because I'm sleeping better at night with how things are going now. Yeah, we're getting pelters, Stephen. He was getting absolute pelters. Couldn't believe it. He started off like house on fire, even in pre-season. I went in Dublin and watched him play there against AC Milan. I thought he was best player on pitch. I thought, wow, who have we got here? Scored the goal as well, and then started the season really well. Then just dipped a little bit, and I never thought he was shit. But I heard people saying he was shit, and he's not. What a waste of 18 million quid, and it hadn't took long for him to turn it back around, does it? Has Blunderwood got a say in the recruitment in January? Well, the way I see it is him and his team present a list. I'm assuming Farke has people on that list too, but I think that's how it works. As a team, they present a list of targets and possibilities of the sort of caliber of player, the profile of player Farke wants. Then they go through it as a team, don't they, methodically, and narrow it down from a vast list to a smaller one, I would assume. Bornau could be shrewd. He hasn't had a chance to prove himself. He hasn't. But if he isn't going to come on when the player in his position's injured, the biggest tell will be if he starts at Liverpool. If he doesn't start at Liverpool, he will go in January, probably on loan for me. It feels very much like Isaac Schmidt again. Just feels like that. He hasn't really had a chance. Maybe he can do something. He's come from a European league. Farke just don't fancy him for whatever reason, and he might just go off on loan. Like, I don't think Isaac Schmidt plays for Leeds again. He comes back in summer and we sell him, probably for a small fee, just to get him off books. Bornau could be the same. Luckily with Bornau, it wasn't a lot of money. But 5 million this season feels a lot of money because that could have been invested elsewhere because we are lacking in other areas. But in the grand scheme of things, Bornau, bought him for 5, does a year. If we're selling for 4, it doesn't really matter, does it, next season. But another manager, if we'd have got another manager in, maybe Bornau would have been higher up the list. I do think there's a few players at Leeds, in my opinion, that will have had one eye on the fixtures. People who aren't playing, Pirot, Bornau, Harrison, and I think it's fair to say, will have been looking at Farke going, He could get sacked here. Let's be fair. I think even as a player, you're thinking he could go. He could get sacked. Maybe I'll stick around. But now with the upturning performance in January being here, they may as well leave because, you know, it's going to take something massively drastically wrong for any of these players to all of a sudden be in Farke's mindset, because he's going to be here now, Farke. I didn't think he'd be here till the end of the season, even at the beginning of the season. On that massive high, I didn't think he'd be here. But he's going to be here for me now as Farke. We're going to stay up. And then the conversation then moves to the summer. Do you twist and go with someone else, or do you stick with Farke and give him more money and back him and go again? And it all depends on how good the feeling is at the end of the season. Do we scrape it by the skin of his teeth, or actually do we continue on this run and end up way higher than any of us envisaged? Apart from Top Banana, who's always said we'll finish 10th or 11th, which is felt like crazy talk at times, but who knows? Who knows? Bring back Chilino. You need a nasty bastard in defence. You have that with Biol. Yeah, and it's working. It's working. How many points through DCL? Quite a few. They're stacking up, and I think there's a few more points to come. I ain't good with math, so I'm not bad with math, but I'm not going to try and embarrass myself counting now. You should ask more for a like and subscribe. Tell you what then, Steve, I'll ask now. 137 watching, 92 likes. Unbelievable. So only 8 shy of 100, which is sort of becoming the target now, weirdly. Brilliantly as well. But yeah, please smash a like. Please subscribe if you're new here. I've basically touched on everything from presser. There's not much else to really talk on. So I'll just sort of get through the rest of your comments before I call it a day. We needed a full refresh of the squad. So couldn't pay stupid. Oh, sorry, still a message come through there. Links to Ake. I don't know if that's just from my mate watching here, and he's watching. It's Callum, if you're watching. I don't know if it's at you. Links, or if it's actually links are actually out there. But that'll be interesting to have a look when I'm done. We needed a full refresh of the squad, so couldn't pay stupid money on one player last time. Yeah, I agree. Like, follow on the hype. Cheers, Pete. DCL's goal v Sunderland was right up there with yours in the Creators Cup, BMG. Got my shirt hanging. Pride and joy, that. Pride and joy. Class that. Cheers, mate. See you for the return game with a full squad. Yeah, John. I'm on Wayne's channel tonight. I'm on Only Fools and SAFC tonight at 9:30. Wayne's a top guy. You know, he's a Mackham, he's a Sunderland fan. If you don't know Wayne, I do a show of him on Tuesdays, alternate channels, Bridging the Gap, it's called. Bit of a player. Michael Bridges played for them, played for us. Can we bridge the gap of being in the Premier League? They've done it superbly. We're doing it currently. We both look like we're staying up. I'm going to get pelters. It'll be a decent chat, hopefully. No dickheads allowed. Nice bit of banter, but I'm going to go on there and I'm going to come out swinging because I think we're a better side. I don't think they're as good as what they think they are, even though they're doing brilliantly. Fair play. Unbelievable. One of the best sides we've seen transition from Championship to Premier League. But I'm going on there at 9:30. So if anybody's free at that time, Only Fools and SAFC, go over and give him a subscribe and be in my corner because there's probably going to be 100 Mackhams in chat. Vying for blood. I know Scotland qualified for World Cup. What's the crack with Wales and Portugal? I'm not sure. Is it qualifiers, mate? I'm not too sure. Paqueta looks like he can't be asked to fight. We've seen that before. I felt like that way with Mark Rocker at Leeds. I feel like sometimes you get a player who doesn't look up for the scrap. And they've got too many of those players, I think. Yeah, they'll panic buy in January. Thing is, with a panic buy, you could get a couple of them right, though, couldn't you? Thing is, if they go wrong and you spend a lot of money, you could go down and be in financial crisis. So West Ham have got to be careful. But they'll twist, Stevie, they'll twist. Hope West Ham pay that much for Tony in their defence. That is terrible. Yeah, I agree. I'd have him, though. To put the money aside, I would have him. I agree that Wolves are doomed and Burnley probably are, but that last spot could be a scrap between 4 or 5 teams with a magic number. BMG, I'm bang in line with you there, mate. We are in situ with that. Pete Hodgson, 40 points. Bob Young, West Ham have 3 games in 18, have won 3 games in 18. Are they going to win 9 in the next 20? A 300% increase in form, bet you are. Oh, God, honestly. Look at you with maths. You got your calculator out there. I wouldn't have been able to work that out. But you never know. You never know, mate. You never know. Are they in a false position currently? Because I'm backing, look what Sunderland have done, yeah? I'm backing Sunderland to do way less in the second half of the season than what they've done in the first half of the season. So why can't they? Why can't they have that sort of increase? It's unlikely, but there's also like, what happens if Leeds fall off a cliff? What happens if Leeds go on a really bad run? We haven't gone on a really bad run. We've gone on what? When 1 win in 6, I think, is his worst run. Won at Wolves and we, drew a few, lost a few. We haven't gone on a horrible run when we've gone 7 or 8 without a win or 6 defeats in a row. I don't think that happens with this side now, but you never know, do you? You never know. They could win. They only have to win 3 in a row and us to, draw one and lose a couple, which can happen. So, yeah, it's unlikely, but because it's West Ham, I can't rule them out. If that's Luton, if that's Sheffield United, I'm saying doors gone, a slam shut behind them, we're fine. We're cruising. But I'm just a little bit apprehensive still of that spot. Liverpool game, I'm not expecting anything. Man U, biggest chance in history to put 5 past them. Yeah, I actually think we could, not only beat them, it could be a game where we bury them. We actually put, quite a few behind them. Just lost where I was then. There we go. Bob, it will be tough for West Ham, but they do have a couple of great players. They don't pick up a few wins in January, they're in big trouble. Yeah, I think they've got, don't quote me on this, but I'm sure they've got Wolves and Forest or Fulham coming. They've got two of the next 3, I think, are down with us towards bottom end of the table. I looked at their next 3 or 4 and thought if they're still 6 or 7 points behind Leeds United after the next 3 games, I think it is done because they've got some really favourable fixtures coming up. Can you envisage Cresswell being snapped up in January by a big club further his progression? Apparently West Ham are in for him, Roger. West Ham are in for him. And I actually think being at Toulouse in France, I actually do think he'd move to West Ham in January. And I know there's a risk of him going down, but I don't think Charlie Cresswell, depends what sides are in for him as well. I mean, if he's been touted with Liverpool and stuff, I don't know if that's true. But I don't think he'd have any qualms going to West Ham. Big club West Ham, if they go down, you'd fancy him to come back up. There's a chance that they do stay up still. So I think if Charlie Cresswell, if West Ham put money down for him, I think Cresswell could end up at West Ham. That is the rumour doing the mill at the minute, that West Ham could be Charlie Cresswell's next destination and he could be up against Leeds United, and maybe trying to relegate his former side. That's the narrative that the media are pushing. Be interesting to see. Just imagine we didn't concede all those late-minute goals. Yeah, Fulham, we dropped 2 points. No, dropped a point at Fulham. We dropped 2 at home to Bournemouth. Those 3 points are the ones that I massively look at. People are saying we dropped points against Brentford, we dropped points against Sunderland. I'm not taking it as that. I know they were there to be got at, but I'm taking them as we gained a point in those games. Away from home, tough away days. The point we dropped at Fulham from one, drawing 0-0 to that Goodmanson own goal, and then the 2 we dropped against Bournemouth at home. For me, we're 3 points down on what we probably should be. But remember last season, it went in double figures, wasn't it, with Melier howlers. Oscar Bob for president, says Billy J. If anyone don't like me doing these little transfer rumours stories, then I do apologise because they're going to keep coming. I really like doing them. If I see a player that we are in for, and there might be 10, 15 sides still in from, if I look at them and it excites me, I'll come on and talk about it. I'll always say if it's, if I think it's going to happen or not. And Oscar Bob is a very ambitious transfer to try and do. The fact that he looks like he's going to Dortmund tells you everything you need to know. But Leeds need to be trying to get players of that calibre. Players who aren't good enough to play for the top sides like City, who are going to go out on loan, try and get in there. Because we are a Premier League club. Yeah, we can't compete with Dortmund. We can't compete with teams in Champions League and Europa League. But there's only 20 spots in the Premier League, and it is the best league in the world. So we've got to be at the table. We've got to be entertaining it. But yeah, probably don't get done. Graham, hi, Matty. Hey up, Graham. Belated Christmas to you and everyone else. I had a good Christmas despite my health challenges. Hope 26 is a lot better for all of us. Leeds United looking up rather than down. Graham, I hope it's nothing too severe. Keep strong, brother. I'm sure you'll be okay. I hope so anyway. But yeah, I had a great Christmas. Thanks for asking. And yeah, I'm glad you had a good Christmas regardless of what you're going through. But keep battling, mate. And hopefully watching my channel gives you something to put a little bit of a smile on your face when you're having those bad days. Whether it does or not, I don't know. But yeah, I love doing this channel and the community I've got. I don't know where it's come from, but I'm over the moon that we've got this. So thanks so much for opening up and letting me know that. But yeah, great Christmas, my end, mate. Thank you. BMG, funny now that we're playing with wing-backs. Schmidt could be a decent asset. Doubt we'll recall him, but wouldn't be the worst idea. Farke, since Farke won't play a player who he doesn't fancy, though. Yeah, if he don't fancy it, he tends to just overlook you completely, doesn't he? Ramazani, Schmidt, Cresswell, Bornau. There's a few in there to name a few. But yeah, I think he's right-footed again, and he plays on left-hand side, right-footed. He's like an upgrade on Byron Schmidt. I really want a natural left-footed, more defensive left-back's what I want. I really, really want that. But yeah, there's something in that. I thought he was a wing-back. We didn't play with wing-backs. Couldn't get him inside. All of a sudden now, if you had an injury at Goodmanson, Schmidt probably would have that spot. Hey up, Bill. My mate over in Virginia, the US of A. Hope you're good, buddy. Hey, am I watching at work? Something that continually disappoints me is seeing players leave every year on a loan. Yeah, all time, mate. But again, from PSR, standpoint, it can help the books. You can't always sell players. You've got to get them out then on loan just to get some value back for them in terms of off the books with the wages. But it's annoying. It's annoying. I just want to sell people now and get some money for them. Yeah, Leeds. Our biggest downfall this season, Roger, has been our individual errors. We don't get carved open. Very often, it's not very often a team scores a goal where you sit back and go, wow. I mean, Sunderland, great goal. But again, Rodon, maybe it doesn't happen if he's fully fit there. But a lot of individual errors have cost us at times this season. He can't get away from that. That's one thing I hated about management, leaving players out. Pirro probably most pissed off. I think so, Jeff. I think he'll be fuming, to be fair. But he ain't going to come out and say, he's just got to keep his head down and hope he gets a chance. But he isn't going to. We're even playing a system now that suits Pirro, yet we're still playing with wingers over Pirro. So again, Pirro, Bornau are both in a position where we now play a system that fits their style. And like, wow, I'm probably next in line here. Something happens, an injury, Metcher, injury to Rodon. Don't look like either of them are fancied still. Would rather play people out of positions or change formation back to the original formation that wasn't working, just so they don't come in the side. So from a personal standpoint, from a human being standpoint, they've got to be a bit annoyed at that. You can't not be. Bornau has come on twice, I think, both as right back. I think he did. I think he came on against Liverpool, didn't he, to be a nuisance in the opposition box for the set piece as well that led to Tanaka's goal. Where did you wash your match-worn game shirt? I don't think it's washed. I just don't think I got very muddy, mate. I didn't put myself about that much. Hope you're going to destroy me. It's going to be a walk in the line because I've got a few notes I want to say to him, yeah. But I don't want it to go too south where I start getting pelters. But I'm going to speak my mind. You know me. I can't lie. I'm just going to say it as it is. Bournemouth will finish below us. My prediction. Mental, innit? How it's looking now. Sunderland will reinforce in January. And you know what it is, John? You spent 150 million quid on 14 players. I don't want to worry about your AFCON players not playing. You knew they weren't playing. You signed African players. No one put a gun to your head. You signed the players who were eligible to play for in that tournament because they're all African. And you spent 150 million. You can't then, say, well, what, poor you. I wish we'd have spent 150 million. I wish we had another 70 million to spend in January. You've got that. Lucky you, know what I mean? Fair play. And guess what? You're spending it. You spent it wisely. You've done well. You're reinforcing January. Fair enough. My prediction is you don't finish in top 10. You might finish 12th. What a season. But I'll get called an idiot for saying that. But I just don't believe. I don't think Sunderland win any of the next 4 games. I don't. Man City, Tottenham, I think it's Brentford. Then I ain't sure what 4th game is, but it's a tough game again. Might be Palace. I don't think they win any of those 4 games. And you start sliding down league. But who cares? What a season. You stay up. Guaranteed stay up. Good figures, gents. Yeah, 141 people watching. Honestly, thanks. 107 likes. Nailed it. Thanks so much. Thank you so much. I got the impression he favours Byram over Bornau at centre-half. To mention Byram in the presser, I bet Byram sat somewhere in a coffee shop having a bit of a chuckle at that. Oh, maybe I'll be on bench this week, but we'll see. Yeah, they definitely do. 10 million quid for Cresswell. Steal. Decent deal for Toulouse. Bought him for 3 million, selling for 10. Decent money that in France. Do you think Dan James' season is written off yet? No. I think you'll see him have a willing on to impact. I think he'll come back. And I think he'll be an impact player. I look at it and I think player of the season last year, we need him to be fit because he's an option that nobody else has. A different option than what we've got. He can get him behind. He's an out ball. He'll scare the living daylights out of certain defenders. He's a better player now than he was last time he was in the Premier League. I think that's fair to say. His end product's better. I hope he can get himself back. Is it hamstring? It's tough when you're a quick player like that as well, to sort of get over those injuries. Sorry, Matty, I worked at Ladbrokes, the bookies, for 24 years. Well, hence loving the stats. Only Leicester in 2015-16 have ever beaten the bookies. They didn't half beat them as well, didn't they, Bob? Mental. Oh, fair enough, mate. Fair enough. Yeah, I need to borrow our lass's hand when I'm counting me. And now, to be fair, I'm not that bad with maths. In my line of work, being a telecoms engineer as well, everything we do cabling wise, we terminate in patch panels of 24. So I'm right good with, weirdly, like, what's your 6 times? I haven't got a clue about all the 24 type tables. 24, 48, 72, 96, 120, 144, 168. Really good with like multiples of 24 because it's just industry I work in. But my English is quite bad. I'm not great at reading. And I think I need glasses now as well, which is a nightmare. I've sort of just come to realisation over Christmas, I actually think I need glasses, which I could cry about. My hairline's going. That's ridiculous. I mean, look at that. Look at that. I'm having to go to barbers now and say, hardly take out off at top because that's got to get cut. I'm gutted. Don't know why I just told you that. What a knob. Just let people know at the start, like Joe Lynch does, that your stream is about, and they won't lose even one subscriber. Yeah, true, mate. I love Joe. How good's Joe? How good is Joe? Tell them to give their heads a shake, loving your channel. Yeah, cheers, Pete. Thank you so much, everyone who's engaging with channel at the minute. It's flying at the minute. His channel, I can't tell you. I put a lot of time into it, a lot of effort into it. I'm constantly uploading videos, doing lives. While I've been off over Christmas, I've just bombarded everyone with videos because it's what I like to do. So when I are doing for kids or doing out in the house or spending time with our lass, I'm here. I'm recording the pre-record for the Liverpool game, and that'll be out at some point tonight. I'm obviously on his channel later on tonight. I don't know if anyone watches the Inside Ellen Road podcast. A video went out this morning. Me, Boss Nass, and AG, who all do late night leads together. That's on the Inside Ellen Road podcast, the YouTube channel for Graham Smith and Chris. So go over there and watch that after this video. That's only been out about 4 or 5 hours. Really good chat. All things Leeds. 108 likes. Well done. Well done, chat. Thank you so much. Schmidt was nowhere near as bad as Thomas Brolin. Wow, going back there, Stevie. Showing your age there, mate. Ramazani back after injury setback. But if I'm honest, I don't think the stars are aligned for a successful league return. No, I thought Farke's going to get sacked and Ramazani comes back. He shuts everybody up, shows everybody is great. I mean, even me and Joe Wayman had some a few debates over WhatsApp when Ramazani wasn't getting played. I was giving him pelters and he was giving me it back. And then he's gone to Valencia and he hasn't performed, but injuries have hampered him. I wanted him to go there so bad. And I don't cash receipts. It's not what I do. I don't rub it in people's faces when things go. Boss Nass was not a fan at all of DCL. I haven't given him any stick that he's on this run because guess what? Boss Nass is over at Moon. He's gone on this run. But I tell you what, if Ramazani would have come good in Valencia, I'd have been banging down everyone's door that said he was shit. But because he's still a question mark, I can't say no. But I do believe Ramazani is a hell of a player. And he just needs the right place to show it. And I think Leeds United is that place. But again, get Harrison out, get Ramazani in. But for Ramazani, he's not playing again, is he? Is Ramazani going to challenge Okafor for a spot? Probably not. So there's no point in coming back for him and his own career. But I think he should be playing for Valencia. I think he should be starting for Valencia. I really do. People who are still here, please make sure you have liked and subscribed, says Stevie. Thanks, man. I think we could beat City. I don't think you'll beat City. You never know, though. Beat City, John. I'll shut up talking about it, mate. You beat City, I'll be amazed. I really will. So Iriola finally realising the club he's at can't hold on to players and might want. Yeah, maybe. It's gone horribly wrong, hasn't it, at Bournemouth. Right, I'm going to wrap it up there, lads and lasses. Come here, want to say hi? Theo wants to say hi before I get the tea on. Roger Slicker, Matty, you'll definitely need glasses in your 40s and 50s. Think it's not possible, but creeps in on you. Yeah, that's me. Say hi to everybody. Hi. 146 people. That's more than us watch along, isn't it? Wow.
149 now.
Mad. Matty, I'm going to ask for a minimum wage. I'm promoting you everywhere I go on YouTube. Saw the Outside Ellen Road podcast already, bro. Definitely recommend it. Thanks so much, Stevie. Class that. Hope we have match on together at the end of the chat, Matty. I could put one on if you want. Anyone who doesn't know, I've got a few songs that I wrote. I've actually got a Spotify account as well, but it's AI singing it. But I'll put match on together on for you because there'll be quite a few people maybe who haven't seen it before. Can Okafor play a full 90 minutes? I think he can. Yeah. He's getting a bit of stick at minutes saying he's not potentially the player we all thought. I actually thought he played well at Sunderland. Maybe I was watching a different game or some. Yeah, he's got to, hasn't he? He's got to get to the point where he can, but we haven't seen much of it. I don't think we were alive when the fattest person to start for Leeds Brolin. Thanks for the great chat, mate. No, I appreciate everyone being in. Again, to just drop a random live in middle of the day and to have you guys turn up when you know predominantly I do 10 p.m. streams and I have done for the last 12 months. It means a lot that so many people are watching. So thanks so much. Please, thank you so much for engaging with chat. I hope you enjoyed that stream. The main takeaways from the press conference were he's out for 3 weeks, misses 3 or 4 games, does Rodon, no more than that. Don't expect any big exits from Leeds in January. Take of that what you will, and there'll be no new signings playing in the next few weeks, even if we sign someone early doors, because I need time to adapt to the quality that we have in our squad, and there is some quality. But yeah, thank you so much to everyone. Honestly, thank you, Stevie. Thank you, Roger. Tezza, as always. Everybody, thanks so much. And I'm going to leave you there. Please smash a like on your way out. Please subscribe. And just because somebody asked, I'm going to play my version of Marching On Together. If you don't like it, just don't write out. Right, love you all. I'll see you on next one. There'll be a preview coming out tonight, so get your notification bell on. Take care, everyone. Bye-bye.
Here we go with Leeds United. We're gonna give the boys a hand. Stand up and sing for Leeds United. They are the greatest in the land. Every day we're all gonna say we love you, Leeds, Leeds, Leeds. Everywhere we're gonna be there. We love you, Leeds, Leeds, Leeds. Marching on together, we're gonna see you win. Na 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 na. We are so proud. We shout it out loud. We love you, Leeds, Leeds, Leeds. We've been through it all together, and we've had our ups and downs. Ups and downs. We're gonna stay with you forever.